Hello, brother. I would like to start off this video by posing a question to you. What is the difference between this and this? So, there may be a lot, but the one I'm expecting would be essentially line quality and line weight and line language, because all three of those things I never learned when I first made this picture. And today in this video I'm gonna teach you these three in that exact order, or not in that exact order. Let's start the video right here and right now. Well, look at this one image, brother. Look at this girl swimming up to the top of some place. And now look at this girl. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Totally different vibe, right? Why? And also look at this. Totally different vibe again. Why? Well, there is one answer, and I'm gonna give you that answer right now. So you see, brother. So we're gonna start it like a Darman video, I guess. Let's actually take a look into this. Why is it made this way? Why? Well, a thick line has a certain quality to it, and a thin line has another quality associated with it, don't you think? So I'm gonna take the example of a camera photos. Let's actually go and look at a nice one. I have some stored in here to show you guys. Nah, I forgot. Let me be back. Yeah, I actually have them. They were just way too back inside of the folders. So take a look at this. The light on the front, in the front, there are a few edge lines over here, right? These lines, when you take and compare them to these lines over here, are more clear to our eyes, and they are also more bigger in size. So if you take lines and put them in a 3D space, the lines that come up front are going to look more bigger, and the lines that are going to come at the back are going to look less thicker, let's just say. So we know that, bro, but what about the blurriness that a camera can create? Like the one you showed us in this picture, brother. You ask me, right? Well, dude, let me tell you something. Look at this. Look at this. And let yourself observe one thing. This is the focal plane of the image. What does the focal plane mean? So let me actually show you. There is this thing called a box over here. And it's like the further you move it away from the camera, let's just say, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. This is a camera for our purposes right now. And this camera, when it looks at something, it essentially places a box over there. And the further away it goes from the lens, the bigger this box is. So what happens is, everything inside this box has a casual gradation of clarity. So the thing that's right at the center of this box, it's going to be the clearest. And the thing that's behind it is going to be less clear. And the thing that's even behind it is also less clear. And we can also apply that to lines, except we can't. Look here, there is no blurriness in each line. So what we can do is, we can use the small line, big line analogy over here. And stuff at the back, you can represent them with small lines. And stuff at the front, you can represent them with bigger lines. Like this. And yep, that is quite literally very easy and very usable. And what we can do to further exacerbate this is, in certain programs, you can take a blur and you can apply it to certain places. Like in Krita, the one I use on my PC. So what you do there is, you take the blur thing and you only apply it to this layer. It can be done very easily. Just search it up online. Just use blur, the option over there, and then you can set it to a mask layer, and then you can erase parts of it where you don't need it, and just let it remain in parts you want it to remain in. And that was basically line language. Now what about line quality, you ask? let me show you a few pictures yet again. These are personal stuff, so I'm not going to show you those. But yeah, I can't really marchify them. So this image has a certain vibe associated with it that it wouldn't have without this type of lines. So what type of lines are we using here? Well, I used a lot of thick lines over here, and I also used them with a texture. So this texture makes this image feel a certain way. Let's look over here. This texture made this kind of fit in with reality, and this, you may think there are no lines, but I just put the lines in an overlay layer. And over here, if you take a look at this, you'll find a pastelness or a pencilishness that adds a certain level of playfulness to this whole picture. And this, it has a few lines here and there, but I haven't really mostly used it. So this gives it a sense of half or semi or below semi realism, because it's kind of realistic and it's not really realistic at the same time. And this one, my friend, this is just pure watercolor. And what we're taking a look here feels comic artish because colors are saturated just as in comics, and the lines in the front have a certain distinct quality to them, like the watercolors played with them. So that gives this image a certain comic-ish vibe, right? And that is how line quality, line weights, and everything else works. So this lines, you can do a lot more with them. Like you can customize them to each character. Like say I have this one guy over here. His head could be in a different line weight than his body's clothing. It depends on the thickness of each material too. Like you can apply lines to so many properties, and with their thicknesses and thinnesses and their blurriness and their clarity, you can indicate a lot of other things. It need not just be what I told today. So the more you learn about different things, the more you should try experimenting, and that is about it. So I would like to end it off with one quote. This is not really a quote, so we're just gonna attribute it to Sun Tzu as we usually do. So the thing is, form follows function. So if you really think about it, you want your stuff to be realistic sometimes, right? There's no problem if you don't want it to be, but when you want it to be realistic, at least your own world's rules, like say in your own world, gravity doesn't exist or something like that, but it still follows some set of rules that you made for it, right? So if form follows function, what that means is, if you have a really amazingly made camera, let's just say it looks gorgeous, stunning, every other word I can throw at it that means beautiful, and the camera can't click, people will like that camera less because it can't, right? So if you really think about it, you want to design some artifact for some story or some world or some piece as it is separately, it will feel a lot more believable if the thing that you draw actually works. So form follows function means the functionality of your object must also be taken into consideration. Once you've drawn enough, this will start to happen on autopilot, so you don't have to worry about it. And that was all that I had to teach you with this video on this topic. Thank you for watching, actually. I actually finished making the series, and this I think is the last installment, or maybe I might have one more. It depends on how I'm gonna schedule it. So I have finished recording the series, and if this hasn't finished, the playlist will be located somewhere over here-ish. Okay? And if you actually finish learning the art fundamentals, like all your boxes are ticked, then I suggest looking into my perspective mastery course, because from what I teach there, you can learn all the stuff there. And I've taught you to draw like Kim Jung-gi too there. The guy actually freehands the perspective grid, right? I figured out a way to do it, And it's not any complex mathy way. There's a complex mathy way too, but it's more of an intuitive way. That's it. Bye. Meet you another time.